people at Truck Stop done teamed up with the boy Mark the Mentor. Are you ready to take your trucking business to the next level? With Truck Stop Pro, you get access to the best load board in the game, giving you the tools to find higher paying loads and streamline your operation. And right now, you can try the Pro plan free for 30 days, a $159 value. Click the link in the description to claim your free Pro plan and start making smarter moves for your trucking business today.
Warning: the following content contains strong language and may not be suitable for children. This content is primarily for adults, as this is a trucking channel and truckers have filthy mouths. Please don't tweak if I say. Viewer discretion is advised.
Sweet.
What's up? How's everybody doing? Come on in, make sure you guys. Whoop. Y'all saw that? I hit myself with the goddamn microphone. Hold on. I typed it up. Give me 1 second. All right. My damn face with the damn microphone. Come on in, everybody. How you doing? Good afternoon. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notification. How's everybody doing? Why does my... All right, there we go. Check. 1 2. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right, cool. All right, let's get the show on the road. Shout out to Carlito. Shout out to everybody from the crib. We got Don Solo. What's going on? Representing the crib. Great polo. Shout out to all the MGM members. Shout out to Corey Jackson. What's going on? Shout out to Jonathan renting the boogie down. DDD Truckers. What's going on? Shout out to Craig Freeman. What's up? Aswell representing the West Coast. Shout out to Pippi. Shout out to the moderators. SD Walk representing Cleveland. King Scene. What's going on? Happy Friday. We carry freight. What's up? All right, come on in. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. All right, today, I forgot to do the poll. I forgot to do my poll. Should I do a poll? I forget it. We'll go a day without a poll. What's going on, Project Porch? What's going on? What's the word? All right. Listen, let's have a conversation. All right. I'm not finna do the whole whiteboard thing today. We did enough education for this week. Now it's back to conversation content. We're gonna have a conversation today. We're gonna talk about employees. Somebody that is a part of the MGM gang, seeming they at that point where they're hitting that something that I've talked about in the past, but I've never done content just centering around this one topic as far as the whole employee envy thing. But I guess we can talk about it today. The employee envy thing. And you get it a lot when you're running a small business, and the smaller your business is, the more prevalent it is. Shout out to Great Polo. For that super chat.
Sweet.
Oh, okay. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think we hit it. I think we hit it a day ago. Yeah, we hit it a day ago. Yeah, we hit it like a day ago. But appreciate that. So yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the whole employee envy thing. You'll feel it a lot more the smaller you are. Especially like when you're at the beginning stages and you got that one employee that's like really working next to you. I think what happens there is they feel like it's their business because you're leaning on them for a lot of things, and they're working side by side with you, and they're at the beginning phase with you. And to be honest with you, they're really building a business with you. Like if you've been following my channel, I always give praises to this guy named Aaron, because he was one of the first guys that I had with me, and I picked up a lot of tricks of the trade from him. Like I wasn't a professional mover, and he had already been doing the moving thing, so I learned a lot from him. That's why I say, I give him a lot of praise, even though, he was with me from the very, very beginning all the way to almost the end. And, a lot of, I've talked about some things that kind of he was, fighting, you know what I'm saying? But I would always give him, chance after chance after chance because he was there from the very beginning. And a big part of my growth and success was due to him. So and he still has, like, that, I don't forget, where I come from, So, but yeah, he's a big part of. Now, he wasn't one of the guys that I dealt with like some form of envy or jealousy, or he never, you know, I never felt that from him. He just really wanted to work. He was always late. He'd be drunk sometimes, so on and so forth. But I never got that from him. So let's understand the root. Let's understand the root of the cause of why it happens. All right. So envy is just a natural human emotion, right? It's something that everybody has it. You know what I'm saying? Now, does everybody display it? No. But everybody has emotions, and you can display that emotion at any given time. There's some people that display it. There's some people that don't. There's some people that display it sometimes. There's some people that display it never. But it's an emotion that everybody has, and it arises when someone perceives that another person possesses something that they desire to have. And we see it all around us. And these people desire to have it, and they feel like they can't achieve it. That's where it comes from. The younger generation calls it hate. Or people part of the culture, they call it hate. It when you're running a small business or you're a small business owner, employees that are working right next to you at the very beginning, they see your success, and they see the financial rewards, and they see the growth, and they see the phone calls and the emails and the decision making, and they perceive that freedom that comes along with being a person of your stature. That's the whole, being your own boss, and that's where the envy comes in at, and that's what everybody desires to have. At the beginning, you're not insulated. At the very beginning, especially if you're in this industry, where you're in trucking, like doing final mile, doing moving, you should be starting with one truck. And if you're working, even if you're doing OTR, and you got one truck, you got two trucks, you're in a truck, and you put a driver in another truck, or if you get a truck and you put a driver in it, that driver has direct contact with you. You're not isolated from the day to day. They're dealing directly with you. It's different when, you have a big company and there's layers of middle management that deal with the drivers or deal with the employees that they have to go through to get to you. You're insulated. It's not like that at the beginning. So, the people that work with you at the very beginning, if you, let's say, on the final mile truck and it's you and that one guy, every day. They get a chance to hear every single phone call. They see your wins. They see the emotion when you're winning. They see and feel the emotion when something happens. You're leaning on them. Man, I need you, man. Let's just, I got this opportunity, man. They saying they're gonna do this, man. I'm gonna kick you back something, man. Let's just do this one more job, bro. Let's do this one more job. They get to witness all that, and they're part of it. And this is where they come from, especially those guys at the beginning, because they imagine being the first guy working for someone at the very beginning phases, the humble phases. You're that one guy, and you stick with this person. And then 4 years later or 5 years later, this guy is the man. You're talking about, you started with something very small. It could be your car. It could be a beat up cargo van. And now you're at 10 trucks. You're at 7 trucks. You're at 5 trucks. and you're no longer in the field and you got people working for you, and you're that person that started with this person from the very beginning, and now you're looking back and you feel like you're a big part. You helped that person to get there. This is what these guys think. And they feel like they deserve a part of that. And that's where it comes from. Now, let's talk about the misconceptions. A lot of these guys, they see the rewards of ownership, but they don't see the sacrifice. And the ones that were there at the beginning, it's like they're blind to the sacrifice because they were out there sacrificing with you. And I kind of get it. Because I remember there was jobs, we would be headed back to the yard and I'd get that call. I remember getting those calls on the last day of August or the first day of July when it's just, people's leases are up. It's the busiest moving day because it's the first of the month. And if you're in the moving industry, you know what I'm talking about. There's movers that always overbook, or there's movers that just get hung up on a job. And on the first of the month, last of the month, there's always customers that get canceled on at the very last minute. The unfortunate thing is if it's the first of the month, your lease is up. You've already told the landlord you're moving. You've already paid for the deposit, the first month rent or whatever for the new place. And if you're in a city like Chicago, New York, like the turnover is instant. Like they ain't prepping that apartment. It ain't the fact like you moving out and then they're going to clean the place and paint the walls. No, like you could literally move out of apartment here at 9 a.m. and the new person is moving in at 10 a.m. They ain't cleaning the carpet. They ain't painting the walls. They ain't cleaning. It's just like that. So someone could be moving in and we would always get those calls. I would expect them. And we could be halfway back to the yard and some lady will call and say, hey, I found your number on Craigslist. I know it's late, but is there any chance you guys can do a move? I know it's 8, 9 o'clock at night, but my mover stood me up. I had a move scheduled for 9 this morning, and I'm not exaggerating. I've got hundreds of these calls. I had movers scheduled at 9. They told me they were running late. At 12, they told me they were still coming. 5 o'clock, they told me they were still sending the truck. Now they're just not answering the phone for me anymore. But I have to be out. Guess what? I can't do it by myself. Hey, Aaron, I got a person on the phone. They saying they need to move right now. It's last minute. I'm going to charge them. I'll throw you something a little extra. You feel like doing one more? I know we almost to drop you off, but I could throw you an extra $25 an hour. I'll pay you an extra $100. Aaron would turn to me and be like, you the driver. I got to go where you go. This is why I always got to shout him out, even though, he was a pain to deal with from the things that he was fighting in his personal life. But he never told me no. He never told me no at the beginning. So I can understand why when you're building something from the very beginning and you got that one guy, a big part of me growing, I owe it to that guy. So I can understand why like an Aaron or that first guy that you got that is making those sacrifices, because that's a sacrifice for him. He's tired just like I'm tired. He wants to go on about his day. Knowing him, he wanted to go get him some, a drink. You know what I'm saying? So now it's prolonging his drinking. He thugged it out with me. So, I understand, those sacrifices that they make, but they don't witness what goes on after you get off the truck. They don't witness that, when I go home, I'm not a drinker. So it ain't no drinking for me. It's me at that particular time going on Craigslist, brainstorming new ideas, creating new subject titles to attract different people, changing the description, looking for other opportunities to build a bigger presence online, building my own website on GoDaddy. I built my own website using a generic template back then on GoDaddy, doing other research, finding ways to find cheaper materials. The list goes on. They don't witness that. They don't think about the financial risk of if we're on a job and we damage something, we scratch something, the personal stress. I'm out there with you, but I'm still worried about if something goes wrong. There was never a day that I did not worry. And guess what? The bigger you get, the more trucks you have, the more people you have, the more worry. You get 2 trucks, that's 2 trucks that you got to pray to God don't get in an accident. That's 2 trucks you got to pray to God if something does happen, there's no fatalities. Depending on what you're doing, that could be 1, 2, or 3 guys per truck that you have to worry don't injure themselves. If an accident does occur, they don't get injured. The interaction with the customer, the stress level. The financial risk, the personal stress. All the stuff that the small business owner endures behind the scenes, they don't think about that. They don't understand that because it's a lack of visibility. They don't see it. So because of that lack of visibility, can kind of create a false narrative that the success came easy or that they were a 100% a part of it. See, because they only think about the actual physical aspect of it. I'm out here with you. I had an employee tell me one time, this is after I removed myself, right? Because the phone calls was just still coming. I was running 3 Penske trucks at this point, but I wanted to keep growing, but it became overwhelming for me because I'm on a truck, right? I got 2 other trucks that are doing 3 jobs apiece, but guess what? Every time they're done with a job, guess who they got to call? They got to call me to close it out, right? Because I'm keeping time. I'm closing out the jobs as far as the invoicing is concerned. So I'm on a job. So I got to go find somewhere and hide because I'm on a 3-man move and the customer's paying us $100 an hour. So now I got to go act like I'm finna go put something on the truck and then go on the back of the truck and get on my phone and close it out and do all the invoicing stuff and hurry up and hope that the customer don't, see I'm missing or I'm still on the truck and I'm fielding calls. Same thing, phone ringing. I got to book these jobs they calling. So now I got to, let me go load the truck. I'm finna go down and load the truck. Take this. I got to take this call. I got to book this move. So it was that time for me to remove myself from the truck. And then once I remove myself from the truck, it's like the guys that I had working now, about 9, 10, 11, 12 guys at that point, running 3 trucks. It's like they forgot that I've been out here the past 3 years. I've been out here the past 3 years. How do you think we're renting 3 Penske trucks and you guys are doing 3 moves a day? I built it up to this point. The moment I remove myself so that I can focus on continuing to build because I can't do it, it's becoming overwhelming. I can't do back end stuff and be on the truck at the same time. It's like they forgot that I've been out here 3 years. I'm still at the crib. A guy, he was late, so I was ripping him a new one, and he got mad. Hey, man, listen. Hey, we making you rich. Nowhere near rich. Nowhere near rich at that time. They see 3 trucks. They see the money coming in because they're doing the invoicing, right? So when they're calling me, okay, $100 an hour times 3 plus whatever the truck fee at that time was, maybe $75, depending on what time period we're talking about. All right, so $375. Oh, this guy's averaging $375 or $400 times three. So that's 1,200, 1,300, 1,500, whatever it is a day. Now times that on an average time 3 trucks. Oh, he's rich. That's where the count in the pocket started at. That's where the count in the pockets start at. They don't think about, what about all that shrink wrap? What about this tape? These Penske trucks, that's whatever Penske is charging me times 3, including the miles and the taxes and the insurance. If you hit something, if you don't pay attention to one of these viaducts, these guys were in 16 footers at that time, but guess what? Those are 11 feet. You got 10.6 viaducts here. You got viaducts that are 10.6. Penske not covering the top 6 inches of the truck. Insurance ain't covering the top 6 inches of the truck. What about the walls that I had to send someone out to patch and paint? What about the discount that I had to give this customer because you nicked the leg on the dresser? All that stuff they don't think about because it's not there. They think, oh, well, we're out here doing the work. Money is coming in. That's it. There's a lot more. There's a lot of misconceptions about ownership. The proximity, because we're close. The proximity is very close. And when you're a small business owner, especially at the beginning, it's like you guys are married to each other. So I'm giving it to you from both sides of the equation so you can kind of understand where it comes from. I like to look at things from both sides of the equation. I remember when I was working at the cell phone and clothing store. I remember me and Jamal used to get into it because I had ideas, even though I was doing the web stuff for him. I had ideas for the front end of the store, and he never wanted to hear it. He used to be like, man, don't tell me how to run my business. And because I didn't understand why he was doing certain things certain ways, I'm like, well, I'll do it this. I was just voicing my ideas. I didn't really realize it until I got in that position and people started to tell me how to run my business. Not knowing what they're talking about because they don't know the inner workings or the behind the scenes things that have to go on to make whatever that we're doing happen. It used to drive me crazy, but I didn't realize it when I was telling him that. I didn't realize how difficult it was to be a small business owner, not a big small business owner, because you could be a small business owner making millions and millions of dollars. I'm talking about like small business owner. I'm talking about where you're involved in the day-to-day. You still the person who's locking the door and opening up. They see you every day. And that's the problem, that proximity. They feel connected to you. But that's nothing you can do about it at the beginning. It's nothing you can do. See, Jeff Bezos and all those guys, it's either people really, really love them or people really, really hate them. But one thing's for sure and two things for certain, you can't get close to them. So people are championing them from a distance because of their accomplishments, or they're hating them from a distance because they're jealous of the success. That's why there's no middle ground. It's a difference when a person has vested interest. And that vested interest, it may not be financial. It may be time, sweat, blood, tears, because they're in the building process with you. So I get it. That proximity, it makes it easy for the employee to compare their situation to yours. Imagine starting with someone that's as broke as you are. And you start with them, y'all helping each other out, starts with a hustle. That's how my thing started. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people who start from humble beginnings, starts as a hustle. We hustling together, so it's almost like it's my idea. I'm spearheading the thing, but we're working hand in hand. And then the moment you decide to really ramp it up and push it, it's like, bro, I was here from the beginning. That's where it comes from. Then they start to focus on the lifestyle or the benefits without understanding that gap in responsibility. I'm just putting you into the context of where it comes from, and then we're going to talk about how to, curve it. And it's going to be different for different people, and it all depends on the industry you're in, it depends on the environment you come from, because everybody's journey as a small business owner is going to be different, and it's going to be different on a variety of things. Like I said, it could be setting. Me finding people in Chicago to do moving and final mile work, I'm going to deal with a different individual than if I was in Kansas, or if I was in New Mexico, or if I was in Montana. The type of people that I would have to seek to get is one or two people. There's a certain mindset there. There's a certain level way I have to go about getting things done. I won't be able to run that type of business as far as communication like I could if I did the same business in Nebraska. Mindsets are different. Mindsets are different. But we're going to get to that. I'm just trying to go through dissecting why this happens. Now, what starts to trigger the envy? Because it doesn't come until they start to see the rewards and the benefits financially, and the success becomes visible. The upgrade. And it doesn't necessarily have to be from your personal level. It could be from within the business itself. I'm going to tell you a story. If you watch my journey, that live stream I did last year where I documented my whole journey and I showed you all the throwbacks, I gave everybody that wanted to be nosy, I finally showed you the beginning to the end. If you saw that stream, we got to the part where I first got the office. The day that I got the office, I had 2 confrontations with 2 employees over nothing. Here's a guy that has to get an office because the business is growing. There's a lot of paperwork involved. I've outgrown my mother's place as far as running this business that's growing, quickly, because I'm in my takeoff phase. Opportunities are being thrown at me, 40 going north. And you got to understand, back then, that was the year of 2014. like all the apps and things that we use now, that shit wasn't a thing. Like everything was still paper manifest. I remember my Office Depot routes, their routes could be 60, 70 sheets per route. And we would have to file and store these in case there was any discrepancies as far as pay on the settlements and things like that. Like, I needed an office space. When I got that office that first day, I had 2 run-ins over nothing. It was just like that, you could just see, because they knew it was coming. And then that day when they came and they seen it, and I had went to Micro Center and I had spent like 10 grand on all the computers and shit like that to set it up, and they see all the boxes and the furniture and all that shit, you could just feel it, bro. You could cut that shit with a knife. You could cut it with a knife, man. So it don't necessarily have to be because you went and copped the big boy. And we're going to talk about that too, because that's not something you should do and never put it in front of your employees. You should always have your low. But even the growth within the company, just growing the company and evolving, is enough to trigger envy. Because in their mind, the reason why the company is growing is because of them, not because of you. Everything that you've done doesn't count. And if you remove yourself from the field, they forget that you was in the field. Don't count no more. They don't like it. Now, we can get more specific, but I'm not going to. Because we can talk about cultural differences and things of that nature, but I'm not going to. What's known don't need to be explained. But that visible success, it triggers people, even from within the company. Now, we can dive into the personal thing, because when people see you upgrade your car, you take vacations, nowadays social media is a thing. So if you got a social media page and it's public and your employees can see your social media page, and you flaunting certain things on your social media page that they may not see from a work perspective. So now they can see some insight to how you do things at home or behind the scenes or with your loved ones. That can play a role. And then they view these moments as a reflection of their own unfulfilled aspirations. We're out in the field doing the work. You on a jet ski. I just did 3 moves for this guy. I'm the lead guy on the truck. This guy charges $300 an hour. $150 truck fee. We did 3 1-bedrooms. Each one took 3 hours. This guy made 1,050 times 3. Times how many trucks? And then they go to your social media page and you on a jet ski. You don't think they want to be on a jet ski? Of course they do. Social media wasn't a thing at the beginning for me. So that wasn't something that I had to deal with. Now, here's how, before we go into the next thing, I'm going to tell you how to cure that and avoid it. When you start seeing some money and become successful, try your damnedest, try your hardest not to rub personal, especially materialistic things in people's faces. Keep you a low-key car. Drive that to work. If you go cop the big boy, don't drive it to work. But here's the unfortunate thing, and it's the truth. Even with me keeping my pickup truck, guess what? There was times the pickup truck had to go to the shop. So it was those days where the big boy had to come to work. And I remember the first day driving the big boy to work. And they had no choice. Didn't want to do it. The avalanche was down for the count. It was at Migo. The avalanche was at Migo. I had to get to work. Big boy had to come. Let me tell you a story about the big boy. Now, I don't know if this was an accident or not. One of the trucks got backed into one of the big boys. Don't know if it was an accident or not. Backed it into the big boy. Might have been an accident, might have been done deliberately. Only reason the big boy is here is because the goddamn my Lolo is in the shop. What's the coincidence of that? It was just a bumper, but still. Oh man, I didn't see it there. How you didn't see it? It's got the goddamn spaceship. No matter how hard you try, it's in some cases it's going to be hard for you not to showcase some of the rewards, of your hard work. But what I'm here to tell you in this particular situation, try your hardest. Try your hardest. Try your hardest. Because what happens is it's going to trigger even more envy, more resentment, especially when you're coming from a place of small business. And especially when it's us. Here's the thing, and I said I was going to not try to go this route, but I might touch on it a little bit. It's a difference when you are a small business owner and you see some form of success in comparison to a large business owner. When you're a specific demographic dealing with your own demographic in comparison to another demographic, it's like certain people of certain stature is like it's supposed to be that way. But when you find a way and you're not of a certain stature, it's like, how dare you? And I don't understand that. I really do not understand. I don't understand that for the life of me. That boggles my mind. So my advice to anybody, once you start to see some level of success, try to, and you have employees and you're in close proximity with them and you're doing good, like just be humble. Try to avoid showcasing the fruits of your labor if possible. One way is like, man, wear a uniform. I wear a uniform every day. Drive your low key car, very, very low profile social media profile. Don't talk about vacationing. Don't talk about anything that could, lower the morale. Because here's the thing. A lot of your employees, especially when you're in close proximity to them, they aspire to be you. That's what it is. That envy comes from an aspiration to be like you. And they feel like they deserve it because what you're doing and the things that you I've acquired is due to them being out in the field. So try not to rub it into their face. This decision making. I don't know what it is because, like I said earlier in this live, I'm guilty of that too when I worked for a small business. Like I saw things. I don't know if that's because of the entrepreneur in me at that particular time that was waiting to come out, but I'm guilty of it. Like I remember when I was working for Jamal, I used to run ideas past him all the time. I guess because I was in close proximity with him, and we would have conversations, and and sometimes he would even come and ask for ideas. I felt it was okay to just be proactive and give ideas even when he didn't ask for them. And that shit used to piss him off. And I really didn't realize it until I was in a situation of running my own business. So employees envy, you know, uh, the autonomy I guess you have as a business owner to make decisions on demand. Uh, it's like I don't know. I really don't. That's something that I really don't understand, and I'm guilty of it too. Why in that time period, which was like '08, '09, when I was working for a very small business owner, why I just saw things and I thought, here's my ideas on how to do. Like I don't know. I can't even, and I'm guilty of it myself. So I'm gonna be transparent with you. It's just something that comes along with it. I don't even have an answer for that. Unfairness. Now, as you start to grow and you start to get more employees, there's going to be favoritism. Now, I know it's not ethical, but let's be realistic. Not everybody is on this. Not everybody has the same skill set, and I don't understand why showing favoritism in the workplace is a thing. Not everybody has the same skill set. Hit the like button. How can I give employee B the same opportunities of employee A when employee A is not costing me as much money? And when we get certain calls for, let's say, a high profile client or a client that's in a more ritzier area where I have to make sure that I send someone who is going to be mindful of the environment and the setting that they're in to make sure that the home is protected, the items are protected, there's going to be that level of professionalism there. I'm going to profile and show favoritism and send the person who's going to represent the company the best. Employees recognize when other employees get preferential treatment. It's unfair. Why do you think when you work at a job and you go in the human resources manager's office and after your 3-month or 6-month or 12-month review and they give you that bump, what's one of the last things they tell you before you leave out of the office? Don't discuss pay with anybody. Don't discuss this with anybody. Why? Because you and Man may be doing the same job, working in the stock room, but guess what? Man is cool. We giving Man $15 an hour. He all right for what he worth, but we see more in you. You're willing to stay late. You come early. We see urgency with you. You go above and beyond. We see a sense of urgency with you in your work. So we're going to reward you. We're going to pay you $18 an hour. You and Man, same title. You go back and you tell Man, you making 18 2 or 3 months later, just in conversation, he making 15, he going to feel away. That's why they say don't tell people what you pay. Now, in corporate settings, is one thing. It's difficult for people not to talk about what they get paid when you have a small business. Why? Because everybody's a little bit more tight knit, because you're working together in close proximity day in and day out. And what happens is friendships get developed. You got people that you hire when you have a small company from 2 different walks of life, 2 different areas of the city, don't know each other from a can of paint, but these guys are working with each other every day. So guess what? One day they exchange numbers. One day one guy gives another guy a ride home. Next thing you know, they're hanging out after work. Next thing you know, they're following each other on social media. Next thing you know, they're the best of friends. You think he's not going to tell him that you paying him 25 and you still paying him 21? Of course he is. How you going to deal with it? Now there's a level of resentment there. You're showing favoritism. There's a reason why you're giving this guy that. They don't want to hear it. He on the truck just like me. He on one end of the couch, I'm on the other end of the couch. What he doing different? Well, he's here on time. He's a little bit more professional. So I give him the title and the task of dealing with the customer. He's the person that greets the customer, does the walkthrough with the customer. At the end, he's the person that handles the invoicing. He's the driver. You don't have a driver's license. He has less claims. So because I'm relying on him more for things that you seem to not recognize, because you're only focusing on the actual task of loading and unloading the truck, all these other things that I just mentioned are oblivious to you, but this is why he's getting paid. I'm incentivizing him for doing a good job, going above and beyond, and I need to keep this guy happy. See, me, I'm willing to take a little bit more risk on you. If you decide to go elsewhere, I'm more fine with that than I would be with him. See, I don't want him at the edge of the bed every single morning thinking, should I come to work or don't? I want him to get up and proactively come because I'm paying him handsomely. See, me losing him is more of a risk for me. Me losing you is not really a risk for me. I can find guys like you every day, all day. Ain't too many guys like him. But guess what? You're going to get the backlash for it, and it's going to create envy. And then guess what happens after that? Truck talk. Good old truck talk. And truck talk is fine as long as it stays on the truck. It's fine. And that's something as an owner of a business that you have to just accept is going to happen. A lot of people hate their boss, right? Because you tell them things that they not necessarily, like I've told people, listen, there's been situations where I've asked people to do things and stay late and do things. There's been situations where I've told people to do things and I know they didn't want to do it. But that comes along with being the boss. And that's also going to create resentment and envy. That's going to create more resentment than envy. But 9 times out of 10, if a person resents you, they're probably envious of you anyway. So favoritism will create that. But that's something that is necessary, and I just explained why. Not everybody is on the same level. I don't deem favoritism unethical because everybody doesn't have the same skill set. It's just what it is. Transparency, and this is something that I think jobs now are promoting more on a corporate level and larger small businesses. This is not something that I'm fully in agreement with. I don't think an employee needs to understand the full inner workings of the back office of the business. It's none of their business. Some things are just none of their business. Like the whole thing where we had the debate with the broker transparency. I just think that when it comes to a small business, here's the thing. When you're running a moving company, it's a little bit different than some of these other lanes because these guys are out doing the moving and they're doing the invoice. And even if they have to call and close out the job, they know what the total is because they're closing it out over the phone, taking the credit card or whatnot. That you can't run from, but other aspects of the financials and the inner workings of the business, I don't think as a business owner you have to be fully transparent with an employee. But here's the thing, some people are, and that also causes discrepancies. That is another thing that leads people to counting your pockets. And we're talking about from a small level. We're talking about you and one other guy, and you and two other guys, and you and three other guys. We're talking about on a small level when you're directly dealing with your employees on a day-to-day basis. All day, every day, throughout the day. They can call you in the middle of the night. They can call you early in the morning. It's like that. When they don't understand the financial realities or challenges of running a business, they assume that you're profiting excessively and they think it's at their expense. And in some situations, that is the truth. Is it fortunate? Is it unfortunate? I don't think it's either. I just think it's business. It's a business's job to profit. There has to be employees to keep the business going. I was in the Discord maybe a couple months ago. I think I talked about this before when the Pepsi thing happened. It was someone that was just upset that Pepsi laid off these people. They laid them off because they needed to cut costs. No, they helped the company make all this money and they just put them to the side. Listen, businesses make money off of employees every day. Business can't make money unless people are doing things to keep the business afloat. That's the point. Now, the unfortunate thing is when you're dealing with small business, very small business, employees don't think like that for some reason. Like I've had an employee tell me, "Oh, we're making you rich." Man, we out here doing all the work. So I'm not working? Like I said earlier, so forget those 3 years that I was out there in the field. So you don't think me fielding calls, finding new business, sending the broker all this verbiage for moves that are coming up later next week and the week after that to make sure that when you guys get to these buildings, y'all can get in the buildings, right? Because I got to get a COI. This building wants to be added to the COI as additionally insured, and they want to put the property management company as a certificate. So now I got to send all this verbiage over to the broker so it can get sent to the insurance company, so all that stuff can get back, and then I got to distribute that to the different parties who are requesting this stuff. All this is work. Payroll, searching for new opportunities, fielding calls from ops supervisors for additional work, routing, scheduling, all the stuff that you do when you get to a certain level. That don't count for nothing. They don't understand that. And like I said, I feel like certain things, like me personally, I'm not going to, like, if I don't feel like it's your business, it's not your business. And nowadays, everybody wants to know all the inner workings. And if we're a private owned company, then I don't have to tell you nothing, but be here at a specific time, and this is how much you're going to get paid, and this is what I need you to do. Now, if you want to exercise transparency, go ahead. As far as 100% transparency, I feel like, listen, this is the scope of your job. I need you here at this time. I need you out of here at this time. And this is how much you're going to get paid. And here's an employee handbook. And everything in this employee handbook. Why I decide that I came into the office later, none of your business. Why I'm leaving early, none of your business. Why I took you off this route and put somebody on that route, none of your business. Why you getting all the third floors and they get all the first floors? Because I think you're the best at the third floor. Like, we don't have to go into details. Now, here's the thing. If you want to go into details, that can create a problem too. I think you have to build boundaries, or you have to create boundaries, I should say. When you have people that come to you and as soon as, like, there's no boundaries, it's like they can lean on you and you just gonna, and this is employee, oh man, they got you. You sweet. And then they just gonna keep at it, run that. Hey, you know what? I'm here, but man, I ain't getting on the truck unless you give me an extra $2. Well, take your ass home then. Because I know once you let a person lean on you like that, it's a wrap. Everybody else gonna see it and then they're gonna do it too. That's when you gotta boss up, suit up, and go get on the truck. There's some people that are just gonna fall victim to it. And that's up to you. I can't tell a person on how to run their business. This is just a conversation that we're having that, I think is long overdue. There's people that are going through this now, and this is just a topic that I want to talk about, that you're going to go through when you're dealing with people and you're starting humbly and small and you grow, and you're going to feel it. You're going to see it. So transparency is something that you can set the level of how transparent you want to be. If you want to be full transparent, go ahead. I think transparent as far as it pertains to the individual itself, I think that's enough. If people don't need to know the inner workings or who my contact is or this, that, none of that matter. Now, you should practice good morale in the workspace. Now, this ain't going to stop the envy. This ain't going to stop the hate. But there's some people that do, not everybody is like that. There's some people that do appreciate being appreciated. So you want to make sure that you make those people, but just everybody, feel like they're valued and recognized for their roles that they play in your business and your business's success. Celebrate the achievements, bonuses. I've given Christmas parties, I've given Christmas bonuses. I've given, surprise raises to some individuals. I've given people certain responsibilities that came with more money. I've incentivized people, and some of those incentives, they probably weren't all the way just based on employees. There probably was some reason that the business needed to incentivize that individual or said individuals, because there was just something that the business needed to be done. So instead of just having a conversation, listen, we're just going to incentivize them so we can boost the morale, because I know in a 2 or 3 days I'm finna come with this. So let me get them, let me grease them up here. That's just, something as a business owner you got to know how to finesse. You know what I'm saying, to get things done. Um, and just show appreciation. Thank you. Appreciate you. A good thing that I always did and I got really, really good at was remembering everybody's birthday. Like I was taught that. And I think one of my professors, talked about that. Like recognition. Like you would believe it or not, like remembering somebody's birthday, especially coming from a person that they wouldn't expect to remember their birthday or know their birthday or keep up with that type of stuff. And just to say, you got a birthday coming up, on the day of their birthday, just say, man, happy birthday. Like that, I don't know what the mental thing is with that, like why that works, but that works. Just remembering someone's birthday. It works. I'm telling you, try it. Try to remember your employees' birthdays. And it's just something that, I don't know, it's just like some type of, I don't know, it's like they like that shit because they don't expect you to care about it or remember it. So that's a good tool to have in your tool belt as far as, boosting morale. Now, growth opportunities. Now, this is only going to be for the people who is them killers. You got to get the growth opportunities to the people who the killers. All right. You don't want them to feel stagnant. You don't want them to have that feeling that there's no opportunity to grow. So you want to provide pathways for them to learn so that they can grow. You want to reward the guys who are going above and beyond so that you can help advance them. And ultimately what they want is more money. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. When you see opportunities that you can put those guys that you want to incentivize and give them those high paying opportunities, those are the guys that you want to take care of. And, they'll appreciate you. They'll appreciate you. You want to build genuine relationships and try to build genuine relationships with everybody. But, like we're talking about, which is the topic, it's not going to work. Some people are just going to envy and resent you just because you're their boss. And that's just the truth of the matter. I had a guy, he hated me, and he was a referral through somebody. He was a workhorse. And this was early on where, I was just patient because I was in the grind phases. Like, there's no way I would let a guy that I know hated my guts, even though they didn't display it to me, but you could feel it and you could hear the rumblings. Even if he was a good worker, at this point in my life, there's no way. You got to get gone. But see, back then in that come up phase, it's like all hands on deck. I need it. I need it all. Anybody, bro, I ain't tripping on buddy because I'm paying Buddy ass $13 an hour. I'm charging $100 an hour. My labor cost is $33 per hour on each truck. I'm making $67 an hour off the truck. So I ain't really tweaking on Buddy like that. You dig what I'm saying? He can get mad all he want. I'm about this mugger. So during that time period, I could let that shit rub off because I'm about this bread. But that dude, it's just all because I was just me. I never did nothing to the kid. Nothing. Just didn't like me. And I understood it because a lot of people don't like their bosses. I think we've all had bosses that we might have not liked for whatever reason. I'm trying to think of one that I might have had. Oh yeah, when I was at Target, I hated the store manager. I hated the doggone. I don't want to say hate. I don't hate nobody. God forgive me. I disliked the store manager. I disliked one of the other managers that was there, and they didn't like me, and I didn't like them neither. I disliked the district back room manager. I felt like it was, I was placed in that position due to, something. I ain't gonna say what it is, but they have to hire certain people for certain reasons. So because I was of a certain complexion, they sent me to a store that was opening up in a predominantly neighborhood that wasn't my ethnicity. And I was kind of like I was like it was like I was there on my own. And then the one other black manager that was over there, she was like we would talk off the record, but as soon as we got around them, I'm like, damn, you switching up. She knew how to play that game. And I just couldn't hide it. It's just my face just couldn't. I just couldn't hide it. I just could not hide the shit. Just like how Menorca came in here yesterday and said my face, certain things I just couldn't do it. My whole sitting on the edge of the bed spiel that I give, you know why I give that spiel? Because that was me at that particular job. I would sit on the edge of the bed every single morning, and I was like, man, I can't just quit. I need them to fire me so I can get unemployment. I wasn't being late on purpose. I was being late because I was sitting at the edge of the bed every day because I hated that place. I just felt like, man, this shit just wasn't a good environment. I just could feel this shit. Even though I came there and I did what I had to do, it just, it just wasn't for me. So I disliked those managers, and I knew they disliked me, and I knew and I felt when they just didn't dislike, when they disliked me to the point where now, all right, we got to get them out of here. Start monitoring the time clock. I already knew how to play the game because I was a manager at the Gap through college, so I already knew what was going on. So, but that was a situation where I just disliked, management. So I kind of understand it. Like I always like to play situations from both sides. So you're gonna have people just don't like you because you're in a position over them. And in our culture, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. We look at each other like we don't feel like there's like if a person reaches for the stars and surpasses you, I ain't gonna lie. It's like we don't feel like, nah, you can't do that. That's just how it seems like we are. But it's unfortunate because I don't see that in other cultures. But you're gonna deal with it. And it's unfortunate. It's just some people just going, but that's not even just with business. That's just in life. It's just in life. It's just in life. So, it's just something you have to deal with. So even if you're looking to build a genuine relationship with someone, they just may not like you. So now you're faced with a decision of what you want to do. Where are you at with it? Is the person doing a good job to the point where, I know this person don't like me, but they personal feelings ain't conflicting with their work performance. So I'm still on the grind mode. I'm still on the grow mode. I'm gonna use Buddy ass for what it's worth. As long as it's not conflicted with what we got going on from a business perspective, then I'm thugging it out. And that's how I looked at it with Buddy. I don't have the patience now, probably because I'm not in grind mode like I was then. So I'm not got these goals that I'm just, I gotta get it. I gotta get it. But at that point, I was willing to let that go. And that's a decision that you're gonna have to make. But I'm just being honest with you, it's going to happen. You're gonna have people that just don't like you. Now what happens when it just becomes that toxicity just becomes too toxic? So despite your efforts, you know, it's just like now that toxicity is just not truck talk. It goes beyond truck talk. So let's say you're running 10 trucks and let's say you got 10 trucks and you got about 25 people working for you as far as drivers and helpers. And that truck talk, truck talk, truck talk. Once that truck talk becomes too toxic, now you got to start making moves. There's always going to be some people that are just too toxic and they're just bad for morale. Now you got to make a decision. What are you going to do? How do you address it? How are you going to address it? How are you going to address hostility? And it could be due to something like you gave this person a raise and you didn't give that person one. Oh man, F this BS. Man, I've been here 3 years, man. Dude only been here a year and a half. How he making more money than me? Man, this is some BS, boy. Man, buddy ass Mark tweaking, boy. Man, I did all this shit for him and he shitting on me. And now these two guys got their whole day because he ran his mouth. It's just toxicity on the truck. How do you address it? How do you address when it just becomes too overbearing? One goes back to more boundaries. Listen, this workplace don't got there's no place for negativity here. Period. Zero tolerance. Once it becomes prevalent and you start to see the morale lower based on one person being disgruntled, you got to nip the bull by the horns. You have to have a conversation with them immediately. Bring them in. Don't do it in front of people. Bring them in the office or step them to the side, and you need to speak directly to that person who exhibits that type of behavior. And you have to give them some verbal reprimand or terminate. Whatever you need to do, there has to be some type of, you have to rectify that situation immediately because it's only going to spread. And if it continues to go on, the morale is going to get lower and lower and lower because what they're doing now is they're trying to get people to weigh in on their sentiment. And they want everybody else's sentiment to be similar to theirs. And you have people that are very impressionable. Oh man, we making all this money. We out here doing all the work. Man, he just sitting up in there like he the goat or something. He's sitting up in the office. Man, you seen he put a futon in the office. He probably in there taking naps. Some bullshit. Man, you seen when we came back to the yard the other day? Boy, I looked in the garbage, man. He bought the whole office staff Taco Bell. He ain't buying us lunch. Man, 3 days last week, I saw he bought the whole office Taco Bell. He bought a McDonald's and he bought him Subway. He ain't sent us no lunch. We out here doing all the work. We the ones lifting this stuff. You got to nip that in the bud. It's going to create a a a a a a, a bad culture within the workplace. Those type of people you just gotta get rid of. You just gotta get rid of them. That's a person who no matter what you do, how many conversations you have with them, that envy is just they just can't hide it. They not worried about what they come to do. Listen, your job is to come to work and drive or lift some stuff and drive or be a helper or drive and drop these pallets at the curb. That's it. And that's all. A person like that's worrying about things that ain't got nothing to do with them, you can't fix that type of person. So what's the lesson? As the owner, as the leader, you are the leader, the owner, and you're going to always be the target of scrutiny. Can't escape it. Especially when you're a small business. And you already know, I really want to go here, but I don't want to have that conversation today. You know how we are, though. You know how we are. And I know the envy can be frustrating, but it's just a part of human nature. And it's unfortunate. And it's more unfortunate that with us, it seems like we get it worse with our own people. You can be empathetic. You need to be proactive when you communicate. You can try to turn the envy into an opportunity to understand, but it's just gonna happen regardless. And you gotta know how to deal with it. If your business is growing and you're profiting, then there was a lot of sacrifice that came along with that success. The best thing you can do is try to help your employees understand your story. They're going to forget. Even the person that started with you at the beginning, that individual is going to forget. He's going to forget that raggedy van that you started with or your car. They're going to forget that once the success starts to roll in because they're going to feel like they should be a part of it. But you got to remind them, listen, there was a lot of sacrifice and I appreciate you and I'm paying you. But at the end of the day, this is my thing. I'm the owner of this business. And although I appreciate you, ain't no partnership. And there has to be a boundary. And if you can't respect the boundary of owner and employee, and I understand because you were there from the beginning, we spent a lot of days, 6-7 days a week, 10 12 13 14 hours a day together, and you may feel some sort of connection, but in reality, I'm still the boss. I used to have this issue with my brother because he was my brother and he got, certain, I don't want to say privileges, but because he was my brother, like, bro, you still, it's my name on the check. So although you got the leniency to do what you want. Yeah, I saw that you pumped some gas. Don't think you took a gas card and pumped some gas. I saw it. I just didn't say nothing because you my brother. See, now if you was one of these guys, oh man, you already know. I didn't mention it. I didn't take it out your check. But it's certain things that I'm not finna let slide. If I said this shit gonna be done this way, it's gonna be done this way. It's a reason why. You may not understand it, but guess what? It's not meant for you to understand neither. So you gonna even get it. Your family is they more hard to deal with when it come to that than anybody else, because they feel like, well, we family. You work for what you built. I had an employee tell me, the same guy would say, "Oh, we making you rich." Da 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 da. I said, "You're not making me nothing." I said, "Your job is to come to work and move people." He was a mover. He didn't even have a driver's license. He was a helper. Good worker, but very tardy. His problem was tardiness, because he had to rely on someone to bring him to work every day. And I know he was the reason for being tardy, because his woman that would bring him to work every day, she was always there early to pick him up. So when they would be coming from the north side, headed back south to the yard to park the truck, she would always pull into the yard maybe 10, 15 minutes before that truck got back. He never had to wait on her. So I already knew the reason he was late every morning. It wasn't her, it was him, because she was always on time to pick him up. He told me it was my responsibility to make sure he got to work on time. It's your responsibility to make sure we get to work. You should give us a bus pass. No, I shouldn't. It's your job to come here and do what's in the scope of the job. It's my job to make sure you have work. Your job and my job ain't the same job. It's not my job to make sure a grown man gets to work. I got one job, to make sure you have work, and then I got another job on Fridays to pay you. And guess what? I'm doing a good job. We not the same. So yeah, some people going to overstep their boundaries. Do I think I would have been challenged by him if I would have been of a different ethnicity? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Ain't nobody gonna go to a business and say, "Oh, well, man, you should give us a bus fare. You should make sure we get to work." What? I mean, it makes sense. So you can remind them, but some people are just going to be naive, and that envy is still going to be there. You know why? Only two people. Rob was one of them. You guys remember Rob came on the show a couple times. Now, although I didn't like how Rob and the other guy went about things, those were the only two people out of all the years and all the people that I've worked. And it's been so many people that I run into people and they be like, "Man, you don't remember me? I used to work for you." I ran into a guy at Kitchen and Cocktails. Kitchen and Cocktails, he was the security. And he came to the table. He was like, "You don't remember me?" I'm looking up at him. No. You say you don't remember me? So now I'm racing. I'm staring at you like, damn, did we do something to this dude? I don't know, bro, because I don't know where he going with this shit. I'm at a birthday dinner. This is when they first opened here, and we were in the private room, and Val Warner was back there at a different table. And this dude, he worked there, so I'm like, no. He's like, man, I used to work for you. You had me on the Office Depot account. You fired me. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, fired you for what? I did not remember this dude because I've had so many people. He said I couldn't get the route done on time, and they were on you about me, and you gave me chance after chance, but you just finally came to me and said, man, they just tripping. So you ended up letting me go and putting somebody else on. He said, I ain't tripping because I just could never. That was a lot of stops and I couldn't get them done. But he was like, man, it was all good. You treated me fair. I just let you know that I appreciate you. So I'm like, whew, because I'm at a restaurant. I don't know if I did something to do. I was finna have to get up and walk out because I didn't want him to do nothing to my food or nothing. But you not going to be able to make everybody happy. You're going to have to make decisions that are going to piss people off while they working for you. So it is what it is. It's just something that you have to deal with. I think if you plan to be a business owner, especially at scale, if that's something that's going to bother you, then you might want to hire a liaison, which is going to cost you more money. And if the business can't afford that, then you have to develop like tough skin. It's going to come. The envy is going to come. The more you grow, the more successful you come, you're going to have people that are just going to be envious of you. So, hit the like button. There was a guy that he's kind of going through that now, and I don't think he's going through the envy, but I think he's just going through other internal problems, like when you start off small, the employees that are working for you, working side by side with you, they don't take the business as serious as you do. And I'm gonna say this too before we wrap it up. They don't take the business as serious as you. You know why? Because even if you got your authority, you got your DOT, you got your MC, they're not looking at you like they look at this big corporate CEO because you're out there in the field doing the work. They look at it as a hustle, even though it's a licensed business for you and you're doing everything right. You are speaking to the customers correctly. You are making sure you're punctual. You're making sure that you take care of people's homes. You're making sure you take care of people's property. That one guy that's sitting next to you, they're not looking at it like that. They looking at, dude, you out here on this truck like me. You ain't nobody. We out here hustling. Because you at the beginning phases and they haven't seen the growth yet. You're going to have to deal with that too. And, I talk to a lot of people behind the scenes, and I've said these things that I've said on the live streams, in different live streams, but this is the first time I kind of just focused on this topic altogether. And people always come to me like, everything you say, man, I'm starting to see it, man. It's happening with me and this employee. It's starting to happen to me now that I'm adding more people. It's going to happen. Your biggest issue is going to be finding employees. Your biggest headache is going to be employees' self, the personalities, dealing with people's personalities. It's difficult. You have to have patience. You have to have a level of finesse. Like your finesse game has to be different for each individual. It is going to be a mental strain on you. So when people ask me, Mark, would you ever build a business again that involves a multitude of employees? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't have the level of patience that I had then, and part of it is probably due to I don't necessarily need to have it anymore. I needed to have it because I was working towards something. I didn't have the tools that those businesses have provided me to have now. I had to deal with it then. I don't got to deal with it now. And I ain't gonna lie. As I get older, I just have less tolerance for, just things that just shouldn't Now we can't use the word manipulation. We have to use influence when it comes to employees, Isaiah. We can't use manipulation. In my business ethics book, and this is an older book because I took business ethics in 98, 99. I remember this. You cannot use the word manipulation. It's unethical. You have to use the word influence when you influence your employees, not manipulate, influence. I had to correct you, Isaiah. You know better than that. You know better than that. Can't use that in the workplace now. But to wrap it up, it is what it is, man. Everybody. I wish everybody, one day can experience the headaches of a multitude of employees. It's a headache, but it can be a beautiful thing, but it is going to be a headache. And when you're in the industry that we're in, you know what we dealing with. You know what type of individuals, and so it's going to be different. It's going to be different. So I wish everybody here can get to that point so that you will understand, like what some of these guys that are coming to me now that are starting to go through and be like, damn, man. Like Jonathan said, he didn't expect it to happen until he got a few employees in. He's having it with his first guy. First guy. It's like babysitting almost. But they looking at it as a hustle, especially if your first person, you trying to maneuver through things and you might be paying them cash or however you doing it. More reasons why they not going to really take it as serious as you. So that's just part of the journey that we all go through, but that makes it beautiful. Just sitting here talking about it, I'm reflecting on 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. I'm reflecting on it now, and it's like one side of my brain is smiling looking back at that time because it was beautiful, but then the other side of my brain is like, what the man, I can't believe I dealt with that. But it's something we all got to go through, so it is what it is. Have to be politically correct with the terminology of today's society. Correct. That's why I've been practicing this week being politically correct, because I think my and there's going to be weeks where I'm just not going to care, but I'm doing a social experiment myself right now. Hit the like button. I'm doing a social experiment to see the sentiment when I turn up versus when I try to keep it politically correct. Now there's going to be weeks where I'm just gonna keep it all the way a buck with you. I'm not gonna try to be politically correct. I'm gonna keep it all the way funky with you. But I wanted to get through this week trying to be as politically correct as possible, just to see something. And I've seen this Friday. I've seen it already. I understand that there's certain things you can't say. There's certain people are going to take something that may seem simple to me or small to me to heart. Like I say, like when I talk to the homies, I was talking to one of my homies today. As soon as we got on the phone, he just started going in. Wasn't no hello, wasn't no nothing. He brought up a time in my life where I was just going through it. Man, remember when your ass? And then I had to bring up a time in his life. Man, remember when you was broken and you didn't have no money to get to the prom, and I gave you money to get to the prom, and you went into Nordstrom's and stole a tie because you didn't have no tie. And then he came back with a rough. Like, this is how we kick it. It is fun and we laugh. But some people, like, they'll take that to heart. Like, bro, why would you bring up a rough time in my life? I was really going through it at that time. And that's what we did. But where I'm from, like, it's just rough. That's how we have fun, bro. So You know, I get it, man. I'm just from a different era, bro. Appreciate that. She doing good. She doing good. She went to the doctor yesterday after you do the little outpatient surgery. They got to check up on you, so everything is good. I appreciate you for asking. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, she's doing good. Yeah. But so we're gonna be politically correct sometimes, but then sometimes we just gonna turn up. I can't, I am who I am. I don't know. Being PC won't get as many views. People like controversy. People do like controversy, but I think you got to have some type of balance too. And I noticed that since I've been kind of politically correct this week, it's hard for me to hit 100 steady viewers. I'm topping out about 80, 90, which is fine. It is what it is. So, but my social experiment that I wanted to see, I saw what I needed to see. People, like you said, they like you're gonna have people that watch you because they want the information. You got people who like the entertainment and the education. You got people that come that just don't like it at all, but they just want to hear what you're gonna say next. And that's just what it is. And that's just what it is. So it's like I was telling the young guy yesterday that came into the Discord and asked about creating content because he's a box trucker. He wanted to create content, and he said, "Yo, I'm just concerned about what people are going to think about me." I said, "Well, if that's what you're concerned, like you shouldn't do it. You're going to be. It's just like being an owner of a business. When you're an owner of a business, the more you scale, the more people are going to scrutinize you. You're under scrutiny because every decision you make for the business, whether it be good or bad, you're going to be scrutinized for it. You decide to add more trucks into the fleet. Oh, why did he buy Freightliners? I like International. Man, I don't like this truck. Man, bro, put me in the old truck. Man, I don't want this truck. Man, put me in the Freightliner. Man, I don't like the International. They're going to scrutinize you for that. You decide to switch up your uniform colors. You decide to go from gray uniform shirts to blue. Oh man, these shirts too dark, man. What about the summertime when the sun beaming, man? This dark shirt is going to attract the sun more. I like the light shirts better. But the reason why you switch to the darker shirts is because you dealing with final mile and moving, and they rubbing up against these boxes, and there's a lot of dust from the warehouse or people's homes. These boxes may have a lot of dust, and when you see your guys come back at the end of the day with the gray shirts, you see the chest area, it's just starting to turn black. And then as they wash their uniforms, it's just getting stuck. So you know what? We're gonna go to a darker shirt so that it can kind of mask some of that, dust and dirt that, is gonna come naturally, because of the job, but we want to make sure that it doesn't, we can mask it as much as possible. So we're gonna go darker shirt. That was your decision behind it. The reason I'm giving this example is because I had to do it. If you go back and you look at the journey that I did in the last stream, my first uniform was gray. You go back and you look at that live stream I did when I documented my journey and showed you my journey. My first uniform shirts were like a heather gray. And the reason why I switched to navy blue is because I was seeing it like, man, like me carrying boxes and carrying stuff and just all this, like no matter how, just the shirt right in this chest area would just get darker. And no matter how much you wash it, the more you worked and you're sweating in this area and you dust from boxes and dust from furniture, and it just left it. So I went darker. They don't understand your decision making. They just complain because they might have liked it one way, but you made a decision based off the needs of the business or making the business better. And they just gonna complain. So this is what you got to deal with. This is what you got to deal with. Oh man, why you get these heavier blankets, man? This shit too heavy, man. This making the carrying the stuff heavier. Well, the reason why we went with the heavier blankets is because these ply blankets, we going through them quicker. Skip it. We gonna pay for the heavier ply blankets because they last longer. Yeah, they heavier. It's making the stuff heavier, but I still got a business to run, and I'm tired of buying these thinner blankets because y'all, we going through them. I'm ordering bundles of blankets like I'm ordering cases of shrink wrap. Like, I shouldn't be ordering bundles of blankets at the same pace that I'm ordering shrink wrap. So, all right, well, let's spend more money on the blankets and get a thicker ply blanket. You got people complaining that the blankets are too heavy. Don't care about, what I just expressed. It's just, this is us. So, and these are things that I learned at the very, very beginning. These are the examples I'm giving are examples from my own personal experience. When I was ordering supplies at first, at the very beginning, I was still a novice. So I was ordering back then, you could order a dozen blankets. So the thickest blankets back then, you could get a dozen for like $125. The middle blankets, the middle ply blanket, you can get a dozen for like $90. That's what I was getting. Then you had those cheap gray blankets that they give you at U-Haul. You could get a dozen of them for like $40. All right. So the medium blankets that I was getting, they were cool, they would last, but they would start snagging. So I went with the heavier blankets, and I remember somebody complaining about it. Man, these blankets heavy as hell, man. Well, it's a reason. Listen, I'm spending more money on heavier blankets for a reason. You think I want to spend more money? I'm spending it for a reason. One, to last longer, and two, is going to provide better protection for the furniture. All they think about is just adding more weight to the goddamn it shit they carry. I don't know. You can't please people. That's the point that I'm trying to make. You got to deal with it. You got to deal with it. I don't want to work with this person. Oh, I don't want to work with that person. Oh man, this person funky. After we do the first job, this dude funky. So, all right, man, I'll tell him to bring some deodorant. Matter of fact, I'm going to buy some deodorant and hand it to him. Oh man, he's still funky, man. The deodorant on the truck, he put the deodorant, he's still funky, man. We do one move, he funky as hell, man. Don't put me on the truck with him no more. Everything I'm saying is not for theatrics. These are just complaints that I've gotten from people over the years. So, you're looking at it from a financial standpoint, but they're looking at it from a physical perspective. They'll never understand it from your perspective. Never, because they're not going to take the time to really understand it. You know what I'm saying? Nor should they. But then that just goes back to like what I said, like certain things you just, like, it would be people complaining about shit. They'll come into the office and I'll just be sitting there and all right, man, I'm gonna talk. Yeah, okay, yeah, all right, we're gonna figure something out. You know what I'm saying? So let me see. Employees can't see what a manager sees. A manager can't see what an owner sees. Everybody will have different points of view. Yeah. So that just further reiterates what I just said. Like, certain things you should just accept it. It's just going to happen. But then there's certain things that can lower the morale. Those are the things that you want to work on. You know what I'm saying? You want to work on those things. An employee not understanding the inner workings of how a business runs from your perspective, they'll never understand that. Out of all the people, and I think I got a little bit off topic, that's why I forgot where I was going when I said, out of all the people that have ever worked for me, only 2 people took it upon themselves to try and attempt to do what it was that I was doing. Only 2. You're talking about hundreds of people. You know what I'm saying? So only 2 people attempted it. So some people are just always going to, their just mindset is only going to take them so far, and Being an owner, you're going to be under that scrutiny. You're going to be under scrutiny for every single decision you make, whether it be good or bad. It's just something you got to deal with. And like I said, certain things you just need to let roll off. And then there's certain things that you should pay close attention to and to, rectify as soon as possible before it lowers the morale within the culture of your business. The hierarchy, so it was me, it was my brother, it was Stack, and then it was Genesis. So Stack was the fleet manager, but he was also I would say, the enforcer. He kept things in line. Once I got to a certain point, I had so many people, like internal issues and shit like that. I just didn't have time to deal with it no more. My job is to focus on the money. So that's where Stack came in. So he was like my right hand. He was the guy that took care of all the internal issues, but he was the fleet manager. So he made sure he did all the pre-trips in the morning. He made sure all the blankets and the materials were accounted for. If there was anything left behind on the job from the previous day, he would notate that so that we can charge whoever we needed to charge that dropped the ball. If trucks came back early, since my yard was not too far from the Indiana border, he would run the trucks across he would run the trucks over to the border to fill them up so we can save that 40, 50 cent, whatever it was at whatever particular time per gallon. When trucks needed to go for service, he would run those trucks for service. When we needed extra additional trucks for rental, he would go pick those up or take them back, so on and so forth. But he also served as the guy that, listen, talk to him. You're going to talk to him before you talk to me. And a lot of that was due to just the type of people that, was working. I'm over east, so you got people from different organizations. I'm not going to go into too much specifics, but like you got just people from all different types of walks of life. And, you got people that were institutionalized. You had people that were transitioning from an institutional mindset back into the real world. It was this guy named Daryl. Like, he was on the new, he was a referral. He still was kind of institutionalized, and he would only listen to me. He was on the truck on the new couple weeks in, and like, you got to take direction from the people that got tenure on the truck. The driver has the most tenure. He's the most trusted person on the truck because he's the person that's dealing with the customer. He's the person that's calling, doing the invoicing. He's the person that is the vocal person on the truck. He wouldn't respect this dude. One, because the dude was smaller than him, younger than him. This guy just did like 8 or 9, swole. He just didn't respect a respected guy from his neighborhood. Mark, he won't listen to us. He won't listen. I moved him with other people. Man, he won't listen to us. He won't listen. It wasn't like he was doing nothing right or wrong, but if they saw him maybe carrying something, hey, you might want to watch that leg or something. Like, he didn't want to take no direction. Man, if it ain't Mark, I ain't trying to hear it. And that's where like situations like that would come in. So you kind of I needed a person who can just deal with all that little petty shit, bro. Cause I'm trying to chase the bag to make sure everybody's still working, make sure that money coming. He gonna deal with that, bro. He gonna handle all that shit. And that's what he was there for, because you had people that just didn't understand how business works. Listen, y'all out on a job, everybody got to work together. You got two people that just feels like, yo, you don't pay me, so I ain't listening to you. No, it's okay to take direction from someone that's more knowledgeable than you, because you on the new. You ain't never did this before. So just because Buddy is 8 years your junior and he's not as penitentiary swole as you can't look down on the young brother because he's trying to prevent you from doing something that's not in the best interest of you and or the customer and or the business. So I had to deal with a lot of that. No one wanted to just accept the fact that, and there were some guys that just understood, but then there was guys that just didn't. So, that's how my brother was operations, and Genesis was, she was like my assistant, and she dealt with all the paperwork. So she would deal with all the paperwork, um, from the moving side, the final mile side, more so on the final mile side because each and every stop had to be accounted for, and depending on the scope of work, depending on the account, whether it was a cross dock account or whether it was one of the accounts that we had from 3PL, certain stops were different scopes and it paid the guys different. So she had to account for each one. So she did all the in-house um, accounting, all the in-house payroll, and then I submitted that over to the CPA firm that we had hired that was on a month to month, right? Because they were charging me $250 a month at that particular time. So we'd send that all over to them, and then they'd cut the checks. Um, so she did all of that, and like fielding the phone calls and shit like that. So my brother, he did operation. He dealt with the drivers. He would come in the morning. All those dynamics guys would come in and pick up their trucks at 5 a.m. And by the time he came in at 7, they had already faxed their manifest over. So now he's going through all the manifests for each truck, inputting the information into Fleetmatics and optimizing it and sending it to the truck. So by the time they got done loading at Dynamics, they get into the truck, start the truck up. All their routes were in the Garmin. There was certain Garmins that you could buy that integrated with Fleetmatics, and we can control them from Fleetmatics. So he had optimized the routes, send them to the truck, and then the only thing they do is hit go. So now they didn't have to spend time optimizing their routes. They could just hit go, and it'll just take them first stop, second stop from where they were at, all the way back to the last stop, and then route them back to the yard. So after he got all those guys out the way, then he'd focus on the operations throughout the rest of the day, monitoring the trucks. Man, this truck been idling for 25 minutes. What are they doing? Oh, that's all. Why he idling so long? Give him a call. Everything okay? We see the truck idling for whatever amount of time. When there was certain issues out in the field, they would call him, and he would relay certain things to me. So, and then like Genesis, she did all the paperwork, and that was it. That was the office staff. Me, Stack, my brother, and Genesis. That was all I needed. Um, and then we would do the warehousing ourselves. We would just take time. So when we got to that point, when a truck would come in, we'd just take turns, unloading the semi trucks with the forklift, and then uh, putting all that information into the workflow for nonstop, that portal, and scheduling. I would schedule all that stuff and do all that routing. I did all the routing. So all the final mile routing and scheduling, I did all of that. That's why when you watch my journey and you saw me in the office, I had the 4 screens, and then you seen I would always keep the trucks on one screen. My emails would be on the bottom screen. I had the Fleetmatics on one screen, emails on the screen. I had the non-stop because I could see all the orders coming in. I could see the trucks that were inbound. I could see the stuff that was going out reverse logistics, and I could see the stuff that needed to be scheduled that we had in the warehouse on one screen, and then I always had select open on another screen because we had a lot of volume of select deliveries at that particular time when I showed those photos of me in the office for we were doing a lot of Bye Bye Baby at that time. So those were kind of like the screens that would always be stuck. But I would do all the scheduling of dealing with the customers, and then obviously all the moving scheduling I did, and I did all the talking with the customers. So my day was always on the phone um, at that point, and it was nonstop. It was nonstop. 3 cell phones, yeah, 4 screens, 4 screens. If you watch that my journey, you'll see like I'm just 4 screens. So um, my day was just on the phone all day, on the phone, and looking at computer screens, scheduling, moving stuff around, and yep. So yep. And I ain't gonna lie, it was fun. It was fun. It was hectic. It was stressful, and it was the right time for it. Those were the years where, you know, the patience, and I could do it. if I didn't have the resources I have now and I had to do it over again, I had to have that level of hunger. Couldn't do it now. I ain't finna lie to you. God blessed me at the right time. He blessed me at the right time. Uh, yeah. Now today I just couldn't do it, bro. I ain't got the patience, bro. I ain't finna hold you. So, but yeah, propane. I talked about that yesterday. I talked about the cost. I think we were talking about cost yesterday. I brought up, you know, the forklift, the propane going down to. I would have to send Stack down to 30. What's that? 41st and Ashland. There's a place where you can fill up the propane, and I would send him down there. And then after I got tired of sending him down there, I just paid the extra money and I sent him to U-Haul. I said, man, just go to U-Haul on 71st and Stony and filled up the propane for the forklift. So I would send them down like to 40. It's a propane place on like 40 something in Ashland. But then I started sending them to U-Haul on 71st and Stony to fill up the propane. But yeah, propane. And then the goddamn it, we had a Komatsu. So we had a Komatsu forklift. No, it was a Komatsu. Crown would come and do the maintenance. Crown would come out, and then it was another company. I think it was Atlas. Started with an A. But I had a Komatsu. I had a Komatsu forklift. Nah, Komatsu. I had a Komatsu. I didn't have none of those. I had a Komatsu. It was another company that I found that was out in it was we used Crown, but we also used another company. I think it was called Atlas. It started with an A. It started with an A. I can't remember. Was it Atlas? Was it Atlas? It started with a yeah. No, hold on. What was it? What was it? Alta. I said Atlas. Alta. Yeah. So we would have them come out and and do it, and that shit was high as hell. Hell yeah, shit was high. It was up 150 an hour. They would start charging you from the moment they left. I found one that was in the south suburbs. The moment they left their facility, you on the clock. And then once they were done, they would charge you an hour going back. So just an hour, just coming to you and going back before they even do anything, you at $300. And then depending on what needs to be fixed, they charge you $100, $150 an hour while they're there fixing it, plus the cost of the parts. So yeah, so and believe it or not, that thing would break down like every few months, bro. I was man, that shit, bro. I don't know, bro. Like that thing would just break down, bro. I'm like, why is the thing breaking down so much? I remember I had to get a starter put in there. I had to I went and bought like a marine battery. I had to switch out the battery like twice. A marine battery. I had to get a starter one time. Yeah, man, that shit, bro. And I didn't account for all that cost. I didn't account for none of that cost prior to me cross docking. I was tweaking, bro. I didn't listen. I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm being straight up with you. If it wasn't for the moving company, 2017 would have been my last year. The moving company kept the final mile company afloat. I ended up recouping all that money, but like the way cross docking worked, I wasn't getting paid every 7 days or every 14 days. We would get a settlement every week, but it didn't account for what was done during that pay period of the prior week. So the settlements were all over the place. I can get a settlement one week for $700 and some dollars. The settlement next week could be $3,100. The settlement the week after that could be $1,500. The settlement after that could be $5,000. The settlement after that could be $400. Why? Because they don't pay you like they pay an independent contractor. You are a person who they seem like, bro, you got a warehouse. We sending you freight, so you smart enough to get to this point, to be able to get to this point, so you can wait like we gonna wait. So as certain accounts were paid, once they got accounts receivable on certain things that we had completed and were closed out, once they got paid, then they submitted for pay, and then we got paid. So there was like, if we did, let's say $5,000 worth of work the week before, 2 weeks before, we wouldn't get that settlement within that settlement period the next week or the week after. So if we do $5,000 worth of work, right, for that period, imagine what my costs are. All right. So the costs that are associated with doing that amount of work, I have to cover that cost. So the labor, the fuel, so on and so forth. And then to get a settlement for that account of $700 when we did $5,000 worth of work. So now cash flow has to cover that until we finally receive that payment. And here's the thing, we did $5,000 worth of work the week before, 2 weeks before, but all that work we did, that $5,000 isn't going to come all in one whop. If we did 200 orders, whether they were pickup or delivery, pickups or deliveries, let's say out of 200 stops, let's say in 3 months, only 10 of those accounts were paid. So when they get paid, we get paid. So it's not going to be, all right, that $5,000, they're going to get paid that 90 days. No, they'll start paying you per each order. When they get paid, you get paid. So those settlement weeks, they could be a combination of, all right, well, here's an order that we paid you for that you did 30 days ago. Here's a payment for something that you did 4 months ago. Here's a payment for something that you did 65 days ago. Here's a payment for that you did for something 42 days ago. And it's just how it worked. There was no, you know what I'm saying? It was just like you get paid when they get paid. So it's not like a 3PL where you're an independent contractor and you're doing XPO and they're getting paid like quarterly, but they're paying you weekly or bi-weekly, and they're just waiting for their money on the back end. It ain't like that when you cross docking. So just like I said, so when we finally ended that, like once we ended that, I got a settlement for 8 months every single week. So we ended that March. I got a settlement every single week until October. That's how much money, that's how many orders that we were waiting to get paid. 8 months, every single week I got a settlement after we completed that. So this is a great example of cash flow, but the other accounts the final mile business was doing, we weren't, there's a lot of times I couldn't cover the cost of what the cross docking work was doing. So the moving business had the loan, the trucking business money until we was able to recoup that. Thank God for that, because that's a cash flow business. It's just cash on top of cash. So that was a year that, man, I would have been screwed. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you need cash flow for that. But see, here's the thing. It's just not the fact that the settlements weren't equating to what the work capacity was for those payment periods, right? It's also all the accessorial cost as well, right? The material costs, right? So we're dropping stuff off, but we're picking stuff up too. Like Wayfair, like I said yesterday, Wayfair, 50% of the shit that we deliver for Wayfair, 50% of that shit we got a week or two later. There was an order that came in the portal to go pick the stuff up. Okay, we getting paid for it, but guess what? We have to prep this stuff for reverse logistics. When I go back into the portal, I got to schedule a middle mile company, Holland, YRC, Yellow, Road Runner, New England Motor Freight, to come pick the stuff up, but I have to prep the stuff, right? So shrink wrap, tape. Yeah, we saved all the pallets from all the inbound freight. Yeah, I saved a shit ton of cardboard. If you guys watch some of those live streams where I went to the warehouse last year, We left you saw a lot of that cardboard still there. There's a reason why I save so much cardboard, because I recycle cardboard to kind of, prep all the stuff that we needed to to ship back. But I had to buy more material, more shrink wrap, more tape. I had to buy bands. I had to increase the security. I had to get a pit bull. I had to feed the pit bull. I had to get the forklift. I had to take the pit bull to the vet every time he got sick or he had to get his shots. It just was all. It just was more. Oh, the trash. I went from one container to two containers to three containers to two pickups a week for each container. So I had, because there was so much cardboard, Republic Services told me, like, look, just get a 10-yarder. Was it an 8-yarder or a 10-yarder? The biggest one, the long one where you flip the flaps, I think is a 10-yarder. They was like, the 10-yarder is like half the cost, for when I remember then, what the trash container was. So we needed a trash container. So we had minimal trash. So we had a 2-yard container for trash, and then we had two 10-yarders. And we did two pickups a week because it was mostly cardboard that was coming back. Mostly cardboard, plastic, obviously, and styrofoam. So all that cardboard went in there, but we still needed two pickups. When you got multiple trucks that are doing white glove delivery, because the routes that they were sending me to were way in the northwest suburbs. So we were dealing with predominantly affluent suburbs. These people ain't getting curbside and threshold. We need the works. Bring it in, put it together, take all this trash with you. We live in Lake Forest. We don't want, this is an eyesore. We don't want this cardboard and plastic. And look how beautiful our garbage cans. They don't have garbage cans. They have trash receptacles. They have trash receptacles. Our trash receptacles, this isn't going to fit in our trash receptacle. We have to set this to the side. No, it's an eyesore. Look at my beautiful home. I don't want this trash. So they're going to pay for the white glove. Every single order, pretty much, that we got, because we didn't deal with like the city and some of the more, poor suburbs. We were in Grays Lake. We were in Lake Forest. We were in Buffalo Grove, Barrington, South Barrington. If you've ever been to South Barrington, you see the homes in South Barrington. You ain't leaving on Wilson. We need the works, man. It's a $10 million home, bro. Like, no. So we got garbage coming back every single day. It wasn't nothing to fill up two 10-yarders in 2 days. Well, nothing. We need two pickups a week. That cost. It costs. So nobody's buying that type of company, bro. The sold the assets. Sold the assets when the opportunity presented itself. Ain't nobody buying that type of company, bro. Just sold the assets when the opportunity presented itself. And I guess according to Nightcrawler, I got lucky that the pandemic came because I was able to sell at an appreciated value. Well, hey, guess what? I guess I got lucky then, as far as the sale is concerned. So we just sold all the assets at an appreciated value during the pandemic and walked away. Yep, so y'all talking about Ulta, not Ulta ULTA, ALTA. Ulta is a cosmetology place. The Ulta I'm talking about is a forklift place. Not Ulta ULTA, Ulta ALTA. The forklift company. Yeah, the trash is, the more affluent home you go into, they're always going to purchase the top level service, which is always going to be white glove. They don't want you to leave nothing in their house, not a speck of styrofoam, nothing. So yeah, so because we were in those predominantly affluent suburbs, Buffalo Grove, Winnetka, Lake Forest, Barrington, South Barrington, all up and through there, Grays Lake, Mundelein, Mount Prospect, um, Highland Park, Northbrook. What's the suburb right next to Northbrook? Right next to Northbrook. Highland Park, Northbrook. What's that suburb right next to Northbrook? It's on the tip of my tongue. What is it? North I can't think of it. But yeah, all up and through there, like them people, they doing full white glove service. They doing full white glove, buddy. So Glenview, Glencoe, another well-to-do suburb. These people ain't doing no curbside. They not finna order no living room set and tell you to leave it at the curb. They got multi-million-dollar homes. No, I'm bringing in, pimp. Put it together. Take your shoes off, pimp. Take your shoes. Hey, you want to carry this heavy ass stuff on these slippery marble floors with this. Take your shoes off, pimp. Take them off. So you dig what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. All right, I don't want to talk about that no more. All right, I don't want to talk about the pandemic no more. My shoulder's starting to hurt thinking about it. All right. I'm thinking about lifting heavy stuff, so I don't want to think about it no more. My shoulder's starting to hurt. All right. My shoulder's starting to get weak. All right. So I hope everybody got some type of understanding when it comes to the whole employee thing and just the disdain between employee and small business owner. It's just something that's just you can't escape. You can't escape it. So it is what it is. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications. I'm thinking about doing another live maybe later on tonight. I'm working on a new concept for a late night show. I don't know. I may pilot it later on today. I may not. We'll see. You know, I got a lot of ideas. So I might pilot it later on tonight. It is what it is. But I appreciate y'all. Let me try to get to the gym and see if I can get on some of these machines before all the New Year's resolution. People been just taking up the gym. Can't get on a goddamn machine. Let me see if I can go to the gym and get on a machine. All right, y'all. In a minute. Peace.